What is going on in there, Sting?
This is obviously back before the sound bits that they put in these things were, PC monitored.
This was like 2021. This is a newer one.
Oh wow, good job.
I got that at Walmart
Job,
this year.
WWE.
Available now.
I'm unloading the meat. I'm loading the meat. I'm unloading the meat. I'm loading the meat. I'm unloading the meat. I'm loading the meat. I'm unloading the meat. I don't even know what it means, but it is what it is. What it is. What it is. What it is. I'm unloading the meat. I'm loading the meat. I'm unloading the meat.
Welcome to Unloading Meat, the only show that doesn't question whether He-Man needs to stay He-Man in 2024. I'm Jared Ralphie Allen, and my guest today is a hilarious comedian straight from Tulsa. Please give it up for the one, the only, Kory McCorkle. What's up, Kory?
How's it going, Jared?
Yeah, I didn't fuck up that intro at all.
No.
Magic editing, I sound great.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, sexy too. How you been, man?
Man, I've been great. It's a beautiful day out.
Yeah.
Wonderful Easter. Got to see a lot of Bartlesville driving out here.
Yeah, you can see how we're handling Easter. This is recorded on Easter Sunday, and we're just like, you want to talk about dicks and fart jokes?
That sounds like the perfect thing for
I
Easter,
know,
right?
Like, he is risen.
Rebirth, dick jokes.
Yeah.
Well, they're both rising.
So yeah, something rose today. It came a lot faster than 3 days.
Whoa.
Innuendo. So man, how long have you been in the scene? You said about 8 months or a couple months? September.
Do you remember when I fucked your ass September? We met really fast on Tinder. Now I'm certain that I am gay.
About September last year, yeah, I finally decided to make the plunge. Had some mutual friends recommend me to give comedy a shot, and it was the best decision I've made. I've had so much fun. All the people in the scene have made it really easy for me to step in, give me great feedback.
Yeah.
And, man, I wish I had done it sooner.
That's kind of how I feel, man. The scene, like I told people before, like this show kind of morphed around the scene, just because when I came back to stand up, I got invited out to the Colony, which is a bar in Tulsa, and it was the night after like Missy had a burlesque show, Conrad had a musician or what do you call it, an actual concert, and like there was comedy at Tulsa Comedy Club, so like everybody converged on the Colony, and one by one I got introduced to pretty much everybody in the Tulsa scene around that time, and I was like, there's so much fucking talent around here. I should do a show about these people. I should interview these people. And like when I started this up again, I put out a feeler and I was like, hey, if anybody wants to come on, I need guests. And the first two people that reached out to me that didn't even know me were Missy and Lynn Kay. And I'll always be grateful to those two women because they came out to a strange dude's house in Bartlesville to film something. And we're totally cool with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I met them from the Colony and that shit like that. And it just happened from that. And I kind of just morphed this show around like, I should really interview this because there's a melting pot here in Tulsa of like a whole bunch of talent.
Oh, there's so much. And that's one of my favorite things about it is it's not just like getting to do something that I'm really passionate about. It's meeting everybody and like seeing everybody's perspective. And,
Yeah.
It's really neat to see how everyone has their own style, but it still seems to kind of fit together.
Yeah. And like, I see a lot of people that like try to help out each other too. Like it's not like yes, you're gonna have some cutthroat people in every business. You're gonna have some people that it's an entertainment business, so it's like there's only so many spots sometimes. Right. But for the most part, there's a majority of people in the Tulsa scene are very helpful and very supportive, and it's just been a nice community to really kind of be welcomed back into from when I tried like 15 years ago. And just seeing like Zach, we mentioned Zach Eamon off the air and stuff like that. He gave me a shout out to Josh Wolf and got them on the couch here. Like when I was able to produce an episode for them, just because he was like, "Hey, Jared has the best podcast studio in town," and like he gave me that shout out. And he didn't have to, but he did that. And like that's what I mean about this community of like just they know how to help each other out whenever there's an opportunity.
Yeah, and it's when you least expect it. I've only done 4 shows so far. And the fact that people who I don't get a chance to talk to that often are like, "Hey, man, I saw you had a show at Go the other day." Like, I didn't even know that was on your radar. Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, that shit matters. I mean, you see it all the time with people like it doesn't take that long or that much effort to hit a like or a subscribe or something like that. But like when you see that, it really does make a difference on us. It pops us, man.
It's all about gassing up your buddies and hyping your friends and
just
making
not
everybody
gaslighting them.
Yeah, not gaslighting. Well, I mean,
well, you can gas them up.
Yeah,
get some beans, some barbecue. I don't know. That's gonna be an uncomfortable grinder situation. I was bloated and moody.
Now Kotex makes a thin maxi pad. It's thin, sure, and has the protection you expect from a Kotex product. What's more, it costs less than other national brands.
Think sensible, think Kotex. Think new, think thin.
The new Thin Maxi from Kotex. Trusted protection, sensibly priced.
And scene. So, like, what's some of your highlights, man, of doing comedy so far? Like,
Man.
what was your first show? Like, what was the show that got you? What was the mic that got you out?
So the mic that got me out was Sesh Lounge.
Oh, nice.
That was my first place. I actually, my first mic was going to be Go Theater. And Rachel Keeley, actually, she's the one who got me started, gave me my first, like, hey, here's where you need to be at.
Shout out Rachel.
Rachel Keeley, she's doing great.
Yeah.
She told me about the Go mic. I signed up for the Go mic, and then I guess they didn't have very many people sign up that night. So Gene texted me and was like, "Hey man, I saw you signed up. Just let you know we're canceling." I text Rachel. I was like, "I guess it's not meant to be," and she's like, "Hold please." And like 10 minutes later, she's like, "All right, Sesh Lounge." And I was like, "Oh okay." And show up there, and the rest is history. They gave me my first chance, and now I've done shows all over the place. I've done Go. I've done open mics at Hunt Club and Looney Bin and Bricktown, and it all started from just goofing off with a bunch of buddies.
At Sesh. I mean, we talked on here before with certain people, and like the Sesh scene. Like I had Z on here.
Yeah.
And Z started around that time when like Sesh and really started getting out with Sesh and Cellar and stuff like that. And there's this crop of people that kind of came up around the same time. What was his name? Scotty Lee.
Scotty Lee, yeah.
All around this Sesh pool. Like Patrick put something together that was really cool at Sesh, and I hate to see that. I hate that it left. It went away, but it was a really cool mic for a while, and it was a good vibe, and like you got to see a lot of talent come out that you didn't really see at other mics sometimes.
You know that? Yes, absolutely. And they made it such a great place to kind of test out new material.
It was very welcoming.
It was very welcoming. You were never afraid to try something, even if it didn't have it quite rounded out yet.
Yeah.
Nobody was going to judge you if it bombed. It was a good place to go.
Yeah.
Kind of get your sea legs.
And I think that really spoke to it. I mean, the main reason I think a lot of people gravitated towards it was because, a lot of open mics are at bars. Mm-hmm. So there's alcohol there. It's tight-knit. It's very dark, dingy sometimes. I mean, that's just a bar atmosphere.
Yeah.
This was next to a weed dispensary, and it's a weed, like, lounge.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more laid-back atmosphere, bright lights, open, and it's just a completely different vibe.
It also wasn't super loud. So
Yeah.
it's
It
easy
wasn't
to hear everybody.
Yeah. And it kind of just created this vibe on Thursday. I mean, it kind of just fell in this perfect time because there's a place called Kindles, and it's still around. It's a good bar. But that was the Thursday mic for the longest time. JB ran it. JB ran the Sunday one and the Kindles for a while. And it went away last summer, like right before, like around June or July, they had the last one. I was on the last one with Kindles. And then Sesh started doing theirs on Thursdays. And then we had Tin Dog coming up for a little bit, and like there was a whole bunch of them Thursdays that kind of just died out. Mics go here, mics come and go sometimes.
They do.
But Sesh stayed around for a very long time. You can still hear their commercials on 104.5.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because I think they paid for like a year of them. Like they're still going.
Hey, maybe we'll get enough people that we'll get a revival of Sesh Lounge.
Bring it back, Nature Cures. Bring it back.
It's gonna be hard for anybody else to duplicate what they had.
Yeah,
for sure.
I know. I mean, not that I'm trying to duplicate or anything like that, but Keels is on Tuesdays now, and they're weed friendly.
They're weed friendly, yes. Keels, I've been by there a couple times. Went and saw their show last night. They had their comedy showcase.
Yeah.
They had a great turnout. The few times that I've been to Keels, they have a real good turnout. Their crowd is super involved.
Yeah.
It's a great mic. I'm really excited that is filled out the week.
And whoever does those flyers, man, is a really good pro.
Yeah, absolutely. they look professional, very, very.
My biggest goal with all this, and I say it from day one, I fucking hate gatekeepers, and my whole goal is just to build my own little empire kind of off my side and just bulldoze them all down. Mm-hmm. Like that's kind of like my Unloading Meat Presents shows. I book strategically. Mm-hmm. My first one was Zach, Rachel Rose, Cepeda, and Bailey Mickle. 3 that are established comics in the scene, and then Bailey's a little bit newer. Mm-hmm. And my thoughts are, if he can hang with them by osmosis, they're equal.
Yeah,
because it's all going out on the internet same way on the same special, and it helps him get his profile up. And I kind of want to do that for people that are a little bit newer to see if they can hang with the people that have been here a little bit more, and kind of just like get away from gatekeeping. Just like if you're funny, if you're talented, I want to promote you. That's it.
And see what personalities match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just how I want to do it, and that's how I want to do business. That's how I want to do this. Like, just friendly talking. I'm, hey, you want to do the podcast? And you were very persistent about it. I really appreciate that, man. Because like you were very also saying like I know you're busy and stuff too. Like I appreciate that because like my mind's overwhelmed.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I know I haven't done video editing in a long time, but I know how much goes into doing show and audio and soundboard, and you're doing it all yourself. I mean, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
On top of still doing all your mics and all your, Unloading Meat Presents and
Just stroke that.
God, everything.
That. Oh yeah, stroke that.
God, everything.
Bruh.
Doing the reels.
Yeah. No, like that'll be trimmed heavily because I mean YouTube probably doesn't want me going. Sting, what do you say about that? Oh, and he's pitting himself.
All right.
Well,
well,
that's a form of masturbation.
you got him excited.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of hard not to be.
Thanks, Excalibur. I love that too. Is they put in the announcer Excalibur just to say what a great match, but where's it coming from? His ass? Like I can kind of picture that Sting is talking through that buddy for like 90% of it, but when Excalibur starts talking, the announcer, I'm like, that came out of left field. And the pinning sounds of the ring. What is going on in there, Sting?
This is obviously back before the sound bits that they put in these things were, PC monitored.
This was like 2021. This is a newer one.
Oh wow, good job.
I got that at Walmart
Good
this
job,
year.
WWE.
Available now. But no, man, I don't like gatekeepers. I don't like people like that. I've had people tell me on this, like, you should have so-and-so on the podcast because they've been in the scene for like 6 years. And I'm like, why? Like, what have they done in that 6 years? Or have they talked to me? Are they an asshole? Like, there's a lot of variables to that. Whereas I'd rather have someone like you or Z or something like that that's really doing the reps. They're going to every mic. They're funny as hell.
I appreciate that.
And you're generally just not an asshole.
That's
and
I have my moments.
Yeah, I mean, me too. We all do. I mean, that's why I'm divorced twice. Cunt. Why I love this is like, how many times have we seen each other at a mic?
Oh, dozens.
Dozens.
Yeah.
But how many honest conversations have we had with each other more than like 30 seconds?
Handful, but
Like,
not
it's
enough.
hard. It's not
Yeah.
just you in general, but that scene, it's not the perfect place to have a really heartfelt conversation or like get to know somebody.
It does kind of elicit a specific type of spectrum of your personality
Yeah.
when you're in that environment.
Because you're on.
You're trying to stay on, but not just for yourself, because you might not have gone up yet,
Yeah.
but you're also trying to stay on for everybody else, because
Yeah.
you got your friends who are going up, and it's like, man, I want to really talk to them, but I know they're prepping for their set, so I kind of, just rein it in. Hey, buddy, what's going on? High five.
Usually
Yeah.
energy, or you got offset and you're dumped with energy.
Yes.
Or you've had some alcohol or weed. And like all that is a melting pot for like, we'll be social, but we're not like good friends yet.
Yeah.
And so I like inviting people or having people come on the couch and then having these conversations because that's where it develops.
Yeah.
I'm more of a wallflower kind of guy, naturally.
Yeah.
I told people like when Roscoe introduced me to people at the colony, like he saw me, I was smoking my vape pen on the brick wall, just kind of hanging back, and I didn't know anybody. And he saw that, and I'll always be grateful to that man as he put his arm around me and he introduced me one by one to every single person at the colony. He goes, hey, this is Jared. He did open mic tonight. Very funny. He didn't have to do that, but he did that to every person at the bar just to introduce me. And yeah, I'll always be grateful for that. And that shit matters.
It really does. That's what I love about this scene is, again, I keep going back to, I was so surprised that everybody was as welcoming as they were.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that everybody has, like you said, everybody has that propensity to kind of gatekeep it a little bit
Yeah.
or try to exclude everybody else because it's, competitive. But it has been nothing but supportive.
Yeah.
And I think that is so unique. And especially being able to, like, actually develop those relationships with
Yeah.
a lot of the other comics and get that closeness. Because a lot of people have gone through a lot of those same things. And that's why we're all trying to make other people laugh.
Yeah, because like, and then also you appreciate when somebody gets an opportunity.
Yeah.
Like you're happy for them.
Yeah.
Like I compare it all day, every day. I'm very adamant about this, and I'm getting ready to have a GCW wrestler on the couch this week, Sam Stackhouse.
Really?
I highly think pro wrestling and our industry, stand-up comedy, are almost exactly the same as far as how they're set up,
I can
as far
see
as how
that.
to break it out. We start out as like quote unquote indies. We're doing the gigs for hot dogs and handshakes sometimes. Not very much pay. We're traveling all over, just trying to get our name out there and try to make these connections and this networking. The really good ones are about branding, merch, stuff like that, to try to be self-sustained and try to make this work. And you try to do that as much as possible and try to get it on the internet to try to get those clips out to see if somebody big will actually give you the big opportunities. And that's exactly how pro wrestling works.
Yeah.
And I'm watching these wrestlers, go all these indie shows. They're traveling all around the towns and they're doing the work. They're doing the leg work. And I'm like, man, this is very similar to what we do. There's a guy named Ethan Page who does toy vlogs. He goes to every city with AEW, and he'll go to a vintage stock and bring the wrestlers with him, and he'll film it and be like, "Hey, what did you like growing up?" And just do little vlogs like that while they're traveling, and they get millions of followers. And it's like, I kind of want to do that with our comedy. I thought about doing that with did you ever watch Insomniac with David Tell?
Yes.
Remember how that always started with him doing one joke at the end of his set, and then he'd walk off stage and he'd kind of explore that town?
Yeah, he'd go out to the bars, and go to restaurants, and order stuff, talk about what he's seen there.
What if we did something like that in 2024 with us comics, and we were at an open mic, we did some stuff, and then hey, let's go to a Target, or let's go to a vintage stock if it's open or something like that. Hey, let's just film something and have some time to hey, what did you like about this stuff? What did you grow up with?
Oh yeah.
And kind of morph those ideas a little bit with comedians and the toy stuff and the vintage stuff.
Oh, for sure. Vintage stocks. You can go to game stores.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all big nerds at heart.
I thought about when I started getting booked at other cities, when I go out there to different towns, if they have a feature, if I'm a feature, if there's a headliner, hey, you want to come out to a town real quick while we're doing nothing in a town, and let's go to a vintage stock or a toy shop, and let's just go talk and film it.
Yeah.
Because I got all the mics and everything like that. I got the lapel mics. I got everything I need to do video on the fly.
I'm for it. Let's do it.
Yeah. I think that and the movie idea would be a really good idea. I think that'd be cool. Call it Mystery Science Theater a little bit, or we're just cracking on the movies, watch something what if we did 90s TV shows and we're watching them from our perspective and we're just ratting on them, we're just joking on them, what the fuck? I think that'd be funny.
Tulsa Comedy does that 70s show.
Tulsa Comedy Reacts.
Yeah, hey, there you go.
That's it.
That's it. We done it.
That's what we're gonna call it.
All right.
Or it'll be on the channel. Oh, somewhere it'll be Unloading Meat Presents. I don't know, fuck. I gotta get my branding in there, bitch. Hey guys, this episode is not brought to you by a mobile game like Best Fiends. It's like Friends, but take out that R. What are they trying to say? The R's for is the R word? Is it an R word? Can we say R word? Can we hint at the word? Take out the R. Oh, Fiends, Friends. That's fucking retarded. So when I know we're off kilter a little bit. We're kind of going everywhere. Magic editing. I study a lot. I have my notepad out. When I was in COVID, I was taking notes on Your Mom's House, Tiger Belly, all these different podcasts, Two Bears, One Cave. I'm looking at camera angles. I'm looking at how they did the lighting. I'm looking at how they're doing their different switches. And I'm noticing that stuff. There's a one called Trash Tuesday. I don't know if you know what that podcast is. It's Bobby Lee's ex-girlfriend, Kalila. She has a podcast with Annie Letterman and Esther, two comedians and her. And it's this offshoot of Bobby Lee's podcast company. And if you watch them, you can kind of see behind the scenes a little bit of how small their set is. It's basically this triangle of this room. And they have 3 chairs. And they have a camera here, camera there. And it's just pushed into that corner. But on camera, it looks as big as this. Just because of the way they set up the angles.
Good spacing.
Yeah, and that really taught me about kind of how to build this and how to build these lights and stuff like that. I take notes on all that stuff. Stand-up specials, I'm taking notes on timing. I'm writing all that stuff down. I'm a very student of the game kind of person on that kind of stuff. So it's people are doing sets at Go, people are doing shows at Go. Trash did crowd control. That was a phenomenal show.
So great.
Shout out Trash.
Yeah.
His next one's coming out in April. It's gonna be phenomenal too.
Oh yeah.
Crowd control was phenomenal.
Second week of April, right?
I think so, yeah. This might be out after that, but shout out to Trash for that. He introduced the idea of coming through that exit door for his people.
That's right.
And I was like, that's perfect. That's a great entrance, Trash. And I was like, can I use it on my next one? He goes, do it. I was like, yeah. And so we had my people come out through there. And it just makes it more natural to come out through there because on the roast battle, it's trimmed. But when I would call people to the stage, there's a full crowd. So it takes 5 minutes for them to shuffle through everybody to get up there. And I'm like, this is taking forever. Yeah. And so there's a lot of editing behind that where I'm like, Trash just solved that in 30 seconds, just by making it more dramatic by having them walk out the door
and
of
go
the double doors
15
and come around.
feet around. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they just come through on the stage. And it looks so professional.
It does.
And I'm like, that's a great idea, Trash.
Has a very Tonight Show feel to
it.
Yeah.
And I love that. I pick up on that kind of stuff. Just looking for great ideas anywhere you go.
And that's what I love is like everybody's perspective on the scene and everybody's like helping each other out with that kind of stuff.
Now I will say, how do I say this very selectively? PC, or not PC, but I don't give a fuck. But like, we've talked off camera about some of the stuff I have personal and stuff like that. Like, I'm 2-time divorce, 2 times like failure at suicide. Roscoe goes, I told myself I was a survivor of suicide twice, and Roscoe goes, well, aren't you more of a failure? I was like, good point. So 2-time failure at suicide, 2-time divorcee, sexual assault with a kid. Like, I have all this trauma and all this stuff. What I'm trying to get at is 2024. If there's anybody that's kind of like just like toxic or anything that's like really just trying to, you're not doing anything positive for me. You're just kind of just sucking the soul out of me. I just block. I just cut off. I nothing personal. It's just I don't have that in my capacity right now to really. I don't have it, and like I wish you the best, but like it's not helping me anyway to be in that pool of toxicity.
The toxicity of our city.
Sometimes, and so I have to just kind of separate myself sometimes.
Yeah, that energy is contagious to a certain extent.
So I just try to do that, and I don't mean to be an asshole about it. Like, there's some people that are probably I'm gonna get a reputation from some people. I mean, you're gonna get that. People like to talk, but like I just try to strictly be by this rule of like if it's gonna bring me down or if it's not doing anything positive right now, I gotta separate, and that's just how I play by in 2024 now.
Yeah.
I just gotta be healthy like that because it's like I only have so much my mental health can really take.
It's protecting your peace.
Yeah, man. That's just it. And I really don't have anything personal about it. I don't hate anybody. I love everybody.
Same. You know, I want to get along with everybody in the scene.
Yeah.
I want to do well with everyone and make friends. That's really the whole reason I got into this. It's not to compete with anybody. Like I'm doing this for fun.
Yeah, I'm doing it for fun, but also it's because like when I'm on that stage, something just kicks in where I'm like, that's where I'm most alive.
Yes.
Same with this. Like I don't know if you can tell. Like as soon as we hit action, like I jumped up.
Yeah.
Like there's just something in me that kicks on when these cameras go on, the lights go on. I'm just on. And I'm very active. I'm very hyper. And as soon as I go off, I'm like, okay, leave me alone for 4 hours. That's what sucks about those live shows in Broken Arrow sometimes is like, I love the theater. I love Gene. I love doing my present shows out there. But after the show, I still got to drive an hour and a half back.
Yeah.
And so everybody's like, you want to go to the after party? I'm like, well, after I load this stuff for an hour, maybe.
Like give me 45 minutes and let me see where I'm at.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You missed the fun last night.
Oh yeah, Jacob Hatfield's.
Man, we that was a great show. They had a pretty decent turnout. Everybody did a great job. And then afterwards, a bunch of us got to move a whole bunch of heavy stuff.
That's all that bull, right?
Yeah, we moved a mechanical bull. That's probably top of the list on things I never thought I would do at a comedy event.
I saw your face in the picture, just like.
Well, what was great about that is so you saw the camera angle in which the trash was sitting on top of that bull.
Yeah.
So we were all holding this mechanical bull at that same exact angle. And I don't know if you need to cut to this later because it is
We'll put it up in
hilarious.
post.
Holy crap! So that bull, you can see there's a circular plate at the bottom where it fastens down to the rest of the assembly, the base that turns it around. It will sit flat. We didn't realize that, so we're holding it like on an edge at an angle in this very precarious posture with trash on top of it. And finally, like Missy walks up and she's like, you know that if you like leaned it forward, it would be flat. And we're like, oh. Thank you.
One woman comes in for the critical thinking.
Fun. Let us lift the heavy stuff and have our fun. God.
How many dudes does it take to lift a mechanical bull?
Apparently, at least 3.
How many Tulsa comics react does it take?
I plead the 5th.
So he says 5.
Bruh.
So,
man, getting off a little bit more off topic and stuff, like what's some of the things you grew up with? Like,
oh man,
favorite shows.
I grew up on a horse farm.
Oh really?
Yeah. So it was mostly anytime that good cartoons were on, I was scooping horse shit. But once I finally figured out ways to convince my parents that I didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
Man, I grew up. X-Men, all the 90s shows, Captain Planet, Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved Power Rangers. My 6-year-old daughter just started telling me that she's been watching Power Rangers at her mom's.
Oh,
and so,
nice.
Like, she'll come over and she'll be like, "Dad, can we watch Power Rangers?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah.
And it's like, then you realize just how far that Power Rangers has gone, and I have no idea what's going on anymore, but it still has the same like campy, goofy feeling.
Yeah.
So it's
Pretty much all shot in New Zealand now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
It's cheaper for taxes and stuff. That's how downhill it went budget-wise.
well, didn't they do that with the original? Because wasn't like Saban? Didn't they film all that in like Japan?
Yeah,
and then,
so
like, all the
Saban
action
imported.
scenes?
Yeah, so it's a show called Super Sentai from the 70s and 80s in Japan. And then Saban brought it over in the 90s and just recast it and then filmed a couple of scenes with American actors and then they just redubbed it and edited it together to make Power Rangers. And then as the time went on, they ran out of stock footage. That's why season 3, it's almost all full American footage. And that's why they never changed the suits, too. They just changed the Zords.
Yeah.
Because they just ran out of stock footage from all the original season.
This is us. We're rebooting
Yeah.
everything. We can't come up with anything.
Well, it's
original.
like what we're talking about, X-Men 97. It came out right now, and it's fantastic. But it really draws your attention to not how bad the animation was back in the 90s, but how limited it was, and budget-wise.
Yeah.
So, like, every time they're drawing one other scene or a fight scene or a move, that costs money.
It
that
does.
takes time. And so when you see these fight scenes, you would see, like, one hit or a punch, or they reuse certain scenes over and over again to kind of save money. Whereas now, they're like, the first scene you see Cyclops fight with in the X-Men 97, you're like, this is what he should have been fighting with the entire time. Like, this one scene makes everybody that always thought Cyclops was a pussy be like, oh, he's actually kind of cool.
Hang tight.
Yeah.
Like, just the first fight scene in the whole series of the new show completely reestablishes Cyclops as like, oh, he's a badass. Like, he is amazing in this show.
Can't wait to watch that.
Do you watch Invincible? Have you ever watched
I
that?
watched the first season. I haven't watched the second season yet. I watched like the first couple episodes. No spoilers, obviously, but like setting up the.
I gotta show you just one day. It's not a spoiler.
Yeah.
It's just something. He goes to meet the creator of his favorite comic book, Seance Dog, and I want you to see this scene and how hilarious.
Oh,
this
I saw. I think I saw a clip of this.
the different animation
It's super
things.
meta, yeah.
Yeah, it's super meta. I love this so much.
Yeah,
We're gonna talk about it all
Sometimes they don't show the mouth, and it's like, yes.
I can't imagine how much work it must be for those fight scenes.
Yeah, those take a while, but we cut corners in other places to make it manageable. You ever
Wait,
notice
how
that
come
sometimes
everything
when
quit
the
moving?
speaking has their mouth off camera, so you never see their lips moving?
These are the moments where you wonder if your
He's
phone
muffled.
Yeah,
is
or
buffering.
back to something.
You're like, oh shit, did
Talking for the same
video
reason.
stop? Okay.
Other times
And then-
we do a wide shot and slowly
If you notice, it's the same
Every-
character. There's like 4 of the same character over and over and over again. They just mass pasted it. And then,
Copy,
like,
paste,
some of
copy.
these ladies have no legs. Like some.
Oh my god!
Some of them have no legs and arms. Like, it's hilarious how much little Easter eggs they put in this.
looks like it's animated, but it's so far away you don't notice. Nothing's moving. The best part is because all these scenes have limited animation, we can make the drawings even better. But sometimes the artists get carried away, and it kind of looks like a different show.
Glow up.
Bye.
No, thank you. I'm gonna watch season 2 way closer.
I love it so much. That show has benefit Amazon, like, for all Jeff Bezos' dick rocket shit. I don't know if you watched
He's
The Boys
patented
too.
that already, by the way.
Oh,
The
really? Dick Rocket?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
yeah.
Come so soon.
Yeah.
Coming soon. Anyway. Bitch. No, like, The Boys is on Prime. It's a fantastic show, and they signed a lot of big names to that for contracts and stuff. And a lot of those same actors do voiceover work for Invincible. And I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of
yeah,
them.
that's right.
And so it's like you can get these big name actors in Invincible, that animated show, that are because they're signed to Prime for all these other shows. And it's cool. You'll see these little like Easter eggs, like, and just little like cameos pop in, and you're like, holy shit! Like, fucking Peter Cole and Optimus Prime pops in for a little bit. Mark Hamill pops in for a bit, and you're like, what the fuck? Seth Rogen.
It's neat to see how, with the way that media is proceeding, obviously with all the bad that comes with it,
Yeah.
the good is obviously that so many of our bigger name actors are coming to more of the, I won't say niche, but more of the less recognized shows.
Yeah.
Obviously, this isn't the less recognized shows, but like Black Mirror is an
Yeah.
example. The fact that has pretty decent following on Netflix.
Yeah, the Anthony Mackie episode.
Oh my God. Oh, like so the Anthony Mackie episode, that was an interesting one.
Yeah.
The what was it?
Balderdash, the movie, was good.
That was good. I forget the one that Selma Hayek was in.
I haven't watched all of it. I've only watched a few.
Something is horrible, or
I haven't watched the Selma Hayek one.
it's pretty good.
Okay.
But the whole point being is like we're seeing all these bigger actors coming to some of the stuff that you wouldn't normally see them on,
Yeah.
and I love that, especially going and doing the voice acting stuff. Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you? You don't even have to leave your house for that.
Yeah. I mean, COVID really changed that, where they can do a lot of voice acting and stuff like that and get away with it. The X-Men 97 is showing that. It's really phenomenal. You can tell, like, the voice acting cast is phenomenal, especially when they brought back a lot of the people that still are alive from the original series. Like the same Wolverine, same Beast, same Rogue, same Storm.
Oh man.
Jean Grey is different, but they got the original actress to play a different character. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but when you see what she's done in the first 3 episodes, you're like, okay, I like this actress.
Yeah.
Like, they got Jennifer Grey, what's her name? She's a very famous voiceover actress, Jennifer something. She's a very famous VO actress. But, like, when she got cast, people were like, they recast Jean and she's still alive? And then, like, one episode in, you're like, okay, I get it. You're seeing where they're going with this. Like, it's cool. Magneto takes a little used to, but you get used to him pretty soon.
I was gonna say I think I've seen some screen caps of Magneto. Definitely a lot different from animated series.
So I think that actor died.
I'm excited to see. I'm pretty sure Rogue was my first teenage crush, like most of us.
The only part, the only bad thing, I think I sent this to somebody about Rogue. They got the same voice actress, right?
Uh-huh.
But no matter what you do to clean up audio, she's 30 years older now, so she's a grandmother kind of age. And so when you have this like 20-something rogue Southern girl now have this kind of old woman talk to it.
Yeah.
Look, plenty of us at this table have passed so dirty they don't squeak no matter how much spit you got.
I don't know. It just makes me jerking off seem really awkward.
Didn't say impossible. Just said awkward.
Yeah, just awkward.
Yeah,
she says sugar, and I'm like, you got diabetes, bitch.
That's the whole reason you're in this problem.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for my boy Nightcrawler to pop up. They already gave him a new figure for it. I know he's coming. Oh, I love Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler was one of those characters that I wish I'd read more of the comics because he wasn't in the animated series
very
like,
much.
a whole lot.
No, like 1 or 2 episodes.
I did love that in X-Men Evolution. I know a lot of people were kind of...
That's a good show.
Yeah.
Wolverine's costume. I'm waiting for them to make a Wolverine from that show. That orange kind of black suit. Oh, it's such a great suit for Wolverine.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nightcrawler was badass in that. X-Men Evolution was good. They actually put him like kind of like a high school age.
Yeah. That was really neat to kind of see that introductory, sort of the way that they ended up going with First Class.
Yeah.
Later on.
Oh, First Class is a great movie.
It really is.
I hate how they went downhill from there. I thought Days of Future Past was great. I thought that was a good movie.
Yeah.
Wasn't perfect, but it was pretty cool how they brought them together.
See, I'm in that boat where like I love the X-Men storylines and all those movies and the cartoons and everything. I never got a chance. Like I said, I grew up on the farm, so my parents were very much about like we're not gonna spend money on a comic book every single week just because you want it.
Yeah.
And so I didn't start getting into comics until I was an adult basically. And so I didn't get to learn a lot of the lore. So I'm just here sitting like a fool enjoying the movies like, oh, that was awesome. Oh, that's awesome. And then my friends are like, that's not how that happened. Like,
but sometimes you're kind of like, sometimes that's kind of freeing. That's better that way.
Yeah.
Like it's not how the canon works in comics. Well, it's better. It fits for this story. It may not be the same. Like people are pissed about how Drax and the Guardians were perceived, like in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like Drax is completely different in the comics. Gamora is completely different in the comics. And you're like, well, yeah, but in this story they fit. Like if you put Drax the Destroyer being this assassin, just monster coming in, it doesn't fit this comedy Guardians of the Galaxy story. Like you kind of have to write them for the story you're writing. And I like that you adapt them. Thor is completely different in the comics, obviously, because Chris Hemsworth's hilarious.
Yes.
His comedic timing is impeccable.
Oh, yeah. I think they really leaned into that for Ragnarok.
Yeah. Once they stopped dyeing his eyebrows blonde, in the first movie, he has blonde dyed eyebrows, and they're so awkward. And then the second movie, they didn't dye those, but they kept them bleach blonde. So Avengers Age of Ultron, you're like, what the fuck was with that dude?
They finally tear his eyeball out and give him a scar and make it look halfway decent.
Stan Lee gives him the barber cut.
Yeah.
I love all Stan Lee cameos.
Those are I'm going to miss those.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, X-Men, like, I can relate with you say growing up on a farm with horses and stuff, right? Like, that's kind of how I was, like, from the age of 5 until 17, 18. Like, we went from Bartlesville, a farm with, like, 30 acres, or 15 acres, to Copan with 20 acres, and we had horses and cows and stuff like that. And I was just out there in the country all my life. And I grew up on like Fox Kids. I'd watch X-Men or something like that if it came on. We didn't have cable until I was like 14 or 15. It was just 2, 6, and 8, and 23. Yeah. That was it. And same thing with comic books. I would go to a convenience store every once in a while, and like I would see like 1 or 2 comics. And like if it was like a special day, I might get one. But I never really collected comics as a kid. I had VHSs of Transformers and Power Rangers, stuff like that, and that was what I would watch on loop because I didn't have cable. And that's kind of what built all this. So like that's why they're so endearing to me, because like, you know, when you're a kid and like the only thing you can watch is X-Men 24/7, you're gonna be attached to it. Yeah. Transformers too.
Yeah, it was the same way. We didn't have cable. Actually, I take that back. We got cable when I was like 14, and it was only because I guess the central cable box for like the entire section of the end of the street that we were on was in our backyard, and my dad basically was like, hey, I'm sick and tired of having to come home and like put my dogs inside every time you guys want to get in the backyard. So if we're gonna keep doing this for you guys, we want some free cable. So we got free cable for like 2 years.
Damn.
And then they got tired of it, and they were like, well, we're gonna install a box in your neighbor's yard. Should have been like, okay, you can get the same thing, buddy.
I just remember like it was like we were 13, we moved to Copan, and that was they had nothing of it. There's no cable, nothing, and so we had to get satellite. And that was when we got DirecTV, and that's when I remember the first thing I watched on cable was WWF on USA. They had like Ken Shamrock and like a Lions Den cage match. And I'm like 13 years old and never watched wrestling or anything. And I'm like, this is cable?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is cable? Oh, fuck. If only I knew I was by back then.
Yeah, first time you see somebody hit somebody in the back with a folding chair, you're like, wow. This is great.
This is fantastic. This is cinema. Fuck you, Scorsese.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
That's a callback. No, man. Like I love pro wrestling. Because you can get attached to the individual people. Like you can get attached to that, and then it's just the way with sports like that. Pro wrestling is theater with acrobatics.
Yeah,
and with athleticism. That's all it is, and a good storyline, and it's fun.
Yeah, and once you accept that, like, you know, everybody's, oh, well, you know, wrestling's fake. Well, duh. Like,
yeah, but Captain America pulling up Mjolnir, that was a fucking awesome moment, and it was so real, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And he beat Thanos.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that hammer only weighs as much of a dwarf star, right?
Yeah.
So, well, clearly your mount is worthy.
I have the axe around the corner. It won't shut the fuck up either. I don't know if you watched Love and Thunder.
Yes.
The romantic subplot of him and his hammer and his axe was hilarious. Oh, yeah. I even filmed a little skit where I was like, "Ooh, man, that was a crazy night last night." Thor's gonna be so pissed.
Yeah, that was a very different movie. I loved that movie. It was very goofy.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be different.
A little too goofy in my opinion, but it needed to be restrained a little bit. But
when he rode around on the hammer like it was a broomstick, and like doing like the splits to stop the two things, like, okay, I see how this is going.
I thought Jane was fantastic as Lady Thor. Gorr the God Butcher was badass.
That was surprising. I really liked how Christian Bale played him.
Yeah.
It was he made a really great
And then
villain.
fucking Russell Crowe as Zeus.
That was pretty good too.
Yeah, and then you got to see Thor's ass. Yeah, everybody liked that.
Everybody liked that. I'm pretty sure that that was probably the peak when you look at the YouTube clip highlight.
The only thing I have that's curious about me with the Thor movies is, like, you know Valkyrie, right?
Yeah.
Like, amazing actress Tessa Thompson, I think, does Valkyrie. She's amazing from Creed and stuff like that too. If you ever watch, I know you don't watch wrestling, but like TBS broadcast AEW, and they also do this thing where they're like, Friday night, come with the party and come check out the Friday Night Vibes, and it gets like this black, like kind of like street, kind of like kind of tone to it, and then it goes all purple and stuff, and they start showing clips like, come check out your favorite people from your favorite movies, and it's doing this, and they show Valkyrie as like, she's the only, as hard as I can tell, she's the only black actress in Thor, but you're like, so you're gonna show Thor Ragnarok, and your selling point is come check out Valkyrie. who's in it for like a minute and a half. Like, that's your selling point on Friday Night Vibes. And they go, it's for the culture. And I'm like, that's like the one scene you could show her from where she's shooting a machine gun. Like,
Yeah, that was.
it was just awkward. It's like, what are you advertising this for? Like, you couldn't have picked any other movie? Like, you're gonna go for the culture, like, and you're like, Thor Ragnarok. That does it.
I mean, if you're gonna pick a scene that everybody is gonna remember,
Yeah.
it's gonna be the machine gun scene. Yeah.
Or when she's slowly walking forward from fireworks.
And then falls over.
Yeah. Like, you couldn't show her the scene like in Thor Ragnarok in the very beginning where she's just drunk. Where she's just shit faced and falling over and stuff. No, that we don't want to show that for the culture. This turned really racial. I don't know why I'm doing that. TBS is gonna cancel me.
Today on Reasons I Got Canceled.
I'll go on TNT. They know drama. So we're back here at Kory McCorkle, my favorite Irish butt plug or Scottish butt plug. I said that for your name,
Irish
right?
and Scottish, yeah.
Irish. What's your descent?
I am quarter Irish. I am quarter German, and I'm half Scottish. So
you're an eighth Guinness.
Yeah. Well, I like to say I drink like a fish and I tan like a strip of bacon.
Ooh, I like that. Oh, greasy.
Yeah. Yeah, valid.
Yeah, I'm just flop sweat nonstop. That's how I felt it go last night, or the awards show. I did the awards with Landry. I won best talk show in Tulsa Friday night. Hello.
There you go.
There we go at the awards. I think they were. What were they called? The Yeasty Bussies. Yeah, that's what they called them.
That's
The
right.
hashtag Yeasty Bussies. Shout out Landry for the Yeasty Bussies. It was a great honor to accept that award.
Yeah, you could say that that's definitely one that nobody else has.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
very unique.
Yeah. Best talk show at the Yeasty Bussies. Yeah. Not at a porn convention or anything.
No, that was next door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeasty Bussy is my name on Grindr.
We'll get that QR code out there for you guys. It's great.
Yeah. That's the best thing about Grindr is like even there you can't escape ads for Raid Shadow Legends.
Swipe. Are you ready? No, I'm not ready for that. I'm ready for many things right now, but I'm not ready for pay to play.
Yeah. And then suddenly it's like, would you like to watch Marvelous Miss Maisel on Prime?
Nothing says aroused like binge TV.
Season 2 now available.
Oh, yes.
Oh, fuck, man. That was fun. Good times. Good times.
Come watch me. That's not what I was wanting to watch.
Watching kind of that. Go on Cornhub. Did you know there's actually a Cornhub?
That doesn't surprise me somehow.
Yeah, it's a fake Pornhub, but it's just all about corn. It has like revealing photos of corn and popping and stuff like that.
I was gonna say that sounds like something that would like, go right in there with like farmers only.
Yeah. Oh, farmers only. Well, a Cornhub goes into farmers only? Is that the name of the title of the episode? Cornhub goes into farmers only?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, innuendo.
That's right. I got to be really careful around Jared. Jared has access to a soundboard and is very quick to clip.
Go on.
I'm sorry.
Dear diary.
Didn't mean to be so cruel.
I'm sorry, officer. Well, I will bring up, you also brought me a gift today.
I did.
I had it on the set the whole time.
Oh, awesome.
You brought me a 3D printed, is it Baby Groot?
Baby Groot?
Baby Groot head. I love it. How long did it take to print this?
That was, I think it was like 48 minutes.
That is cool, man.
Something like that. It was, I'm sorry, hour and 48 minutes.
Did you already have the file, or was it like based off of something? Or
So, yeah, I had a file for that. That one, actually, you can kind of tell if you look at the back. There's a little tiny hole at the bottom. It was originally made to be like a planter, and that was supposed to be a drain hole. But I don't plant stuff, but I always need stuff to stick pins and random flash drives and stuff in.
That's cool, man. Thank you. I'm gonna keep it on the set. I like it. I also have my guest set like stuff over here. Like there's some Funko Pops in here, but like a lot of my guests like gifts and stuff like that go on this shelf.
Awesome.
So I just try to keep that as momentum.
Oh, you got the Weapon X Wolverine over there?
Andrew Lai gave me a Scott Lang Ant-Man figure.
Oh, heck yeah.
just because he said I was a good dad. And I was like, aw.
Oh.
And also, I love it because, like, hilariously, I don't know if you've ever seen this figure. It has probably the best head sculpt I've ever seen. Look at that Paul Rudd.
Wow, that's a good Paul Rudd.
Yeah, like, it's incredible Paul Rudd. Like, oh my god, let me see where I can find him. Because, like, I already had him over here. Somewhere. Oh, yeah. Like, that smirk is perfect, man. Like, I kind of want to put him on a suit jacket or something like that, and like have him be like from what was the movie with Jason? Were their best friends? The guy from How I Met Your Mother. You know what I'm talking about? I Love You, Man.
Yes.
Where they're doing like the bass. I want to put him with the bass and like
Slapping the bass.
Yeah, slapping the bass.
Slapping the bass.
I want to make that figure.
Oh man.
I'm thinking about taking that out of there and doing that head with it. Put him on a suit body. Getting a bass, because I have a Deadpool or somewhere I have guitars. And I also have Spider-Punk. He has a guitar down there I can use.
Well, I mean, if we need props for action figures.
Oh, yeah, you have a 3D printer.
I can 3D print you some props.
So I actually might be talking to you because, like, so I love connections like this. And we talked about, like, you love hearing people's different backgrounds or different, what do you call it, viewpoints on this stuff. Jace Kinzer is an electrician, and he was going to help me next time coming up here to help me talk about, like, putting in LED lights and all these.
Oh, that'll be so cool.
And I want to do that. That's the next upgrade is, like, LED light all these. And then I also want to talk to you, possibly, because you have a good 3D printer and stuff. I eventually want to do, like, dioramas or do, like, just, like, sets for each one, or, like, a background. Kind of like how I did this Wolverine display. Like, have a nice background, and I want to put some, like, flora or something like that, and actually have a nice display. So I might hit you up sometimes for, like, some props or something like that for it.
There's a whole bunch of different stuff out there. I've got several like Discord channels that I'm on that give custom models.
Nice.
And all kinds of sites.
Because I've always wanted a 3D printer. I just haven't
They're
never got
so much fun. I've got a filament printer, which is it basically works like a mechanical pencil. It just slowly spits out like a little bit of the material at a time, heats it up, and it puts it in a line.
Yeah.
1 hour later.
And then you got what's called a resin printer, and the resin printer. You remember the opening of Small Soldiers?
Yeah.
Where like there's a platform that's like dipping down into liquid.
Yeah, yeah.
2 hours later.
So it works kind of like that. You cook each layer at a time, and it dips again and again. Takes not as much time as doing some of the high detail stuff on a filament printer, but it's a lot of fun. It's also really toxic and smelly.
I will show you. Like, so I have a Spider-Man picture just holding that because it's a big frame. It's kind of empty box. My next upgrade for that.
3 hours later.
And it's the exact size for that box.
Oh, and you could put switches, LED switches inside those windows.
Yep, and some of them are even hollow, so they can hide inside those.
Dude.
So I'm gonna make that my Spider-Man display.
Many unbearable hours later.
I always like seeing the little like YouTube videos of the people who
That's just creepy.
Cut holes in their walls and made like scenes in their drywall of their house that was like Legos or whatever.
Oh yeah, like the Legos like are building the supports and stuff like that. Those are cool. I love also like the people like they have those ones that are like Iron Man's hand popping through the wall, like they're coming through, like the Spider-Man hand or something like that. I like those too. That are kind of like busting through.
It's a really neat way to kind of like make it a little bit different.
Yeah.
And still keep the same aesthetic.
I kind of want to like I have a Kool-Aid Man tattoo busting through my arm. I kind of want to have that like. I mean, I'm half Kool-Aid. Like I identify as Kool-Aid.
As the drink or as the pitcher?
My pronouns are Tropical Punch, Cherry.
What is it? Tropical Breeze? No, Hawaiian Breeze?
Hawaiian Breeze. I don't know. Whatever came in those little squirty those little squeeze things that you had to twist the little top off.
Blue sugar water, red sugar water, and purple sugar water. That's all I know.
You remember those like soft plastic Kool-Aid things and you twist the little tie off the top?
Oh my god.
They come in like little 4-packs? Yeah. The squeezy things.
Squeeze-Its.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had the little weird contorted faces on
yeah,
there.
and like it's like one drink.
Yeah.
It's like oh, it's gone. It's like a cock. Anyway, that made you awkward. Someone got red.
Hey, you know, dude, you gotta do what you can, right? Yeah. No, those were always the ones that like your parents would be like, you can have one, and then you'd be like, cool, and then you'd drink it, and then you'd be like, can I have another one? I'm like, no.
It's like when you get those baby Slim Jims. You eat like they're like this big, and you eat one, you're like, that whet my appetite. Like, give me the whole box.
It's like I should have just had the big Slim Jim.
Obviously, you can tell I had the whole box. Diabetes.
The number of times I've eaten an entire box of something.
my ex-wife. Taco Bell. Whore. It's funny because it's true. I always compare podcasts to open mics.
Mm-hmm.
There can be 1,000 of them, but how many of them are good?
Yes.
And you saw during COVID all these comedians that were trapped like, oh, I'm just going to launch a podcast. I'm going to launch a podcast. And they just put up a camera and they're like, okay, they're half-assing it. Whereas Two Bears, One Cave, Your Mom's House, Bobby Lee's Tiger Belly, those thrived because they turned it into a very good outlet for their comedy and really took it seriously. And it was very, very entertaining content during those hard times. And I latched onto that shit and I took notes on it. And that's why I started building this. I was like, I can do this. Because I was like, these guys are just two dudes in a small room with 3 cameras.
Yeah.
How much work is it to set that up? And it is a lot of fucking work.
It is a lot of work. But also, once you get it set up, too, like, you realize, like, wow, that was actually, like, now that I'm here,
yeah,
like, I can keep doing this.
Yeah.
And now you've got something that you're going to be
able
able
to
to continue to build on and just improve. And that's something I really wish I had the time to put together myself.
Just I tell people all the time, like, again, no ego. Like, I worked on, when I came back to this, like, I was like, I want to have a brand, have a logo, merch, stuff like that. Because, again, I go by, like, independent wrestling. An independent wrestler will get a logo, they'll get a merch made for T-shirts to sell outside their shows, and that's how they make their gas money. That's how comics make their gas money. They sell stickers, they sell koozies, they sell T-shirts.
Did you like the purchase that I made?
Yes, I did. Thank you. Did you actually get a sticker?
I did. I got a sticker.
Thank you, man.
So it was, you noticed the amount, right?
Yeah. I forgot all about that. Where's my fucking phone?
So I go out to the table after your show's over, and I'm like walking up there. I was like, "What else he got?" And he's like, "Oh, we got stickers, everything." I was like, "How much for the sticker?" He's like, $5. And I was like, "All right, $7.35." And he's like, "But it's $5." I was like, "I know." He's like, "Then why are you doing $7.35?" I was like, "Because at some point Jared's gonna open up his phone and see all these $5 purchases and one for $7.35, and he's gonna go, 'What the fuck is that?'"
It's not loading, but yeah.
Kory, what the hell did you buy for $7.35?
There it is. For
You know. 43, yeah, $7.43.
I'm gonna pull the web receipt. Fuck you, Cash App. You took 20 cents.
Well, I was really just, making sure you got the full $5 fucking Cash App fees.
So you're saying the $5 was to make me holler?
Holler if you hear me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Supporting local comics.
One way or another.
Yeah.
So you're saying for $5 I made you sticky? Or sticker?
It was a sticker.
A sticker, okay.
Sticker.
Yeah. $5 stickies on Grindr. As you're looking at Mia Wallace. Say what you will about Quentin Tarantino. He likes feet.
He does. Oh gosh, the number of feet scenes.
And then, like, I don't know if you heard, like, did you hear that, like, Uma Thurman got really fucked up from Kill Bill from the car?
No.
Like, you remember that, like it's like Kill Bill Volume 2. It's actually the end of Volume 1, I think, too, a little bit, where it's in black and white. She's driving in that convertible. It's like, she's, like, doing the monologue at the end, like, I'm going to get Bill. She's driving on the...
Yeah.
It's this, like, old, like, German or something. It's like a very fancy convertible she's driving in black and white and stuff like that, going down to Mexico to meet Bill's relatives or whatever. Mm-hmm. That car had, like, no brakes or something like that, and, like, they knew it was faulty, and something, like, from around I've heard and what they've said is, like, Tarantino knew it was faulty, basically, allegedly, and still put her in it. And then something happened and she fucked up her back or something during it. And, like, that's why she's also kind of been not friendly with Tarantino because, like, I guess that got out. Like, he put her in danger just for the shot kind of thing. Like, do it anyway. We're filming.
That's never good.
Nope. Because, yeah, like, she has, like, still to this day, like, back, like, injuries or back issues from that car scene.
So you're saying that checking to make sure the props in your movies are working properly is an important thing to do?
Yeah. Yeah. Just never cross the streams. Ghostbusters.
Oh gosh.
I have a whole Ghostbusters display over there too in the theater section. That's the other thing. Gene told me he's gonna give me the Ghostbusters poster for the new one.
I was gonna say you should check with Gene to see if you can get some posters. From him.
After this, you're gonna go around the corner. You're gonna see where Gene and me have been hanging out.
Heck yeah.
Like I said, I built a whole like home theater over there. If it had been like 6 months earlier and he was selling those theater seats, I would have bought them.
Well, he's got some more of those theater seats for $10.
I know. I just don't have a room for it.
I was thinking about it myself. Like, okay, do I need a couch?
I know.
I could really just get away with 4 theater seats side by side.
If they reclined, I'd be in person. I'd be like, oh.
I don't know. I could put them in my garage. Maybe I should redo my garage.
There you go. $10 is not bad for seats.
Bad.
Dude, make you a little podcast studio or something in there. Make you a 3D printing studio or something in there.
3D printing studio. It's just going to be shelves.
Just filament everywhere.
Yeah, shelves and air filters and
just filament and loneliness.
Random multicolored spaghetti. That's always really fun. So 3D printing, it's a lot of like trial and error, and one of the things that you have to get used to is failure, just like being a comic.
Yeah.
Right. Just get used to stuff not working out. Yeah. The number of times that I've had something I've been printing, like I got a buddy I'm printing Mandalorian armor for.
Oh, nice.
And the number of times there was a specific piece of the chest plate I was trying to print, and I printed off in 4 sections, and one of them, each of them took like 18 to 23 hours.
Holy shit.
So all 4 of those, and that's just the chest piece. So this thing is hundreds of hours when it's complete. And this one component, every time I would print it, it would get like 9 hours in, and then something would fail, and I'd be at work because I'd be like, all right, cool, it's working. Go to work, and I'd come back, and it's just like a pile of spaghetti in there, and it's just going and spitting more out, and I'm like, this is great. All right, throw it over, throw it away, start over. That was only
3 hours later.
$10 worth of material. This is fine.
So like, all I want to do is like, you see, like I take the boxes and I cut them out and I make little stands out of like logos.
Yeah,
I would love to get those logos made in 3D printed.
Oh, and what would be cool is we could scan in like where it says X-Force.
Yeah.
And we could cut that part out in Photoshop.
1 million, zillion, jillion, dillion, cotillion times later.
And then there's a way for me to like actually like stretch the logo up off the base so it does stand out, but then you still have that piece behind it.
That's what I want. Just like something to stand out in each stage, like just has that. Like, yeah, I just got creative with the boxes and started cutting them out.
You know what else this means?
What?
It means we're gonna have some stuff to paint.
Yeah, that's true.
We're gonna have to paint this stuff.
I can paint.
Oh yeah.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
So it's not 3D printing, but you can't see it real quick. But like, do you see my 2 ice bins? Do you see one up there, one here?
Oh yeah.
I built those ice slides. So those are all made out of hot glue guns.
Oh, that is so cool.
Because like they didn't give me any accessories, so I built that.
But dude, that is so like.
And then I painted white on the outside of it just to make it pop, and I put blue on the inside to make it kind of match. And I just hot glue.
That's so cool.
I've done this. You'll be like around episode 70 in a year. In 1 year, I've done almost 70 episodes. Plus the specials and stuff like that. They say you need to at least do 100 episodes of a podcast before it starts breaking out more. But even then, I've had a lot of success so far. But what was I getting at?
You did 70 in a year?
Yeah.
Bud, that's serious. That's
a lot.
That's more than one a week.
Yeah.
52 weeks.
Yeah. I started February last year.
That's some serious business, man.
Yeah. Last episode, I filmed my very first episode the last week of January last year. And then I went to see Roscoe host the Tulsa open mics around that same time. And that my first episode was with my best friend AJ, because I didn't know anybody in comedy, so I just had my best friend come on just to kind of get the pilot out. And that's why he also signed the door. Like, I didn't even have a poster up there. He just put his name AJ on the fucking door. He just wrote it with big red Sharpie. And I'm like, thanks, man. So yeah, like, that's how old it was. But like, yeah, I just tried to push it out and like just learn as I go. And yeah, like you said, it's a lot of work, but you know, it's building towards something.
Yeah. Well, and ultimately, like, everybody's going to be able to see it.
Well, that's what I was getting at. That was my big thing I was rounding back to. Sorry, I'm a little high, too. The back catalog is going to be important, because all it takes is, like, one episode to pop off. It just takes one guest, one episode of these 70-plus episodes, eventually, to kind of break the internet or go viral, so to quote-unquote. And then people are like, oh, that's a really good episode. Oh, he has 70 more? Let's go check out Kory. Let's go check out Zach Amon. Let's go check out Z.
Have that algorithm working for you.
Suddenly, the Tulsa comedy scene, the back catalog, gets all pulled up by one episode. And that's kind of where I'm going from, is like try to just push out the content as much as possible and keep going. And eventually one's going to pop off, and that should help the back catalog help raise everybody.
Yeah.
And that's my goal. Same thing with the specials.
I wonder if one of the next times we do one of your Unloading Meat Presents at Go, if we could get a poster and put it on the outside in some of his little marquees.
He's already agreed for me to do it. I just need to get them. I need to get $30 to go buy it.
And then we could get you like a QR code on there that would link to your YouTube channel. So
that's true too. Because I have the QR code on there for the tickets, but that's a good idea to get the YouTube channel too. That's a good idea.
Because if they're walking by and they're like trying to decide if they want to buy tickets or not.
Yeah. That's a good idea. I like that. Yeah, because like I print out one of these for each season, and it's only $30 at Staples, and it's same day. You can pick it up from your local Staples. And you just upload it on the website, and then they print it out locally.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and they're $30. They're not bad. Just trying to have different things for it. Like, 'cause I like to tell people, like, I have all these different cameras, different sound equipment. You don't need just one thing. You need to have several tools in your tool bag.
Yes.
Just like a comedian. Like, I relate this all the time. Like, you ever watch the show Ink Master?
Yeah.
Remember, like, those great artists that would come on there like, I'm going to be the Ink Master, man. Oh, I can only do black and gray. Or, I don't do portraits. Then why the fuck are you on Ink Master? Like, you should be able to do a little bit of everything. Like, to be the Ink Master. Like, so, like, as a comic, I'm like, there's some people who are like, fuck Matt Rife, he only does crowd work. Crowd work's not real comedy. Well, you should still know how to do crowd work.
Oh, yeah. How about if every single one of the jokes that you wrote are bombing and now you
have nothing? You
better figure something out.
Yeah. Like, I think you should be a jack of all. Like, you should have a little bit of everything in your tool bag and be able to pop that out. If you need to do some crowd work, you need to do some written material, you need to do some fucking roasting, just whatever. You need to have all those talents. That's kind of also why with my live shows, I do a comedy show and then I do a roast battle, flip flop. And I kind of want people to have that as a way to not only, open mics are gyms, workout material, you need to work that shit out. Then I want to be able to give people a platform of roast battles, because I think that helps you with your improv.
Yes.
Roast battles are a place to help your improv tremendously. And that's honestly where you think of on the fly. Those retorts, those quick retorts are hilarious.
Yes.
And the people that do it are really good at it. And that's going to help you in the long run for just your natural comedy.
I agree. I've really liked seeing some of the clips that I've seen from the roast battles.
Yeah.
Same reason that I enjoy the riff shows.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of fun. I've got a couple of jokes that I developed because of things that I just spontaneously came up with on a riff show.
Yeah.
And ended up being something really good.
Same thing with this.
Yeah.
Like I tell people now, like, I can't separate my podcast and comedy. Like, they're so symbiotic now to me, because there's things that I'll pop up and have a conversation here, and I'm like, that's funny, I should save that. And then there's stuff where, like, I've tried it out on stage and it didn't really work the best, but having it as a story here with two people or on a broadcast works better. It's better in this format. And you can kind of find that a little bit between the two different things. And there's a lot of stuff here that I bring up on stage. There's stuff sometimes where I record an episode on a Thursday, and it was so funny that I'm like, well, it goes tonight. I'm going to put that in my act.
Yeah.
And that's what I tried out on stage that night. It was just that happened from the interview that morning. And it just happens like that, man. I also think that something like this helps with reps. Like, I'm way more confident on stage than I ever was a year ago just by doing this every week. And talking on cameras, talking to you, talking to people like this. Like,
it's all stage time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it's alone in a fucking quote unquote, I mean, I have two kids, so I'm not a virgin. Virgin's paradise? I mean,
but
I don't know.
It's kind of like what you said. It's you got to have all that stuff in your toolbox.
Yeah.
It's the same reason. Like I think more people need to be open to doing like hosting.
Yeah.
I got to host for the first time over at Go, and I had never done that before, and it was a completely different beast.
You see how much is into it, yeah.
Yeah, and so for those times where I've seen a host go up there and come up with things between each act and introduce everybody and do these callbacks to the previous comic's jokes and transition into the next comic, like that is such a skill that has to be, it's a muscle.
It's a skill set. Yeah, you got to work on it. Yeah.
And so it's really neat to see things like that, and then have all these different ways that we're practicing comedy that all ultimately build you into this hilarious machine.
Yeah, because I mean that's kind of by design too. Because like we go from open mics to getting a spot, to maybe getting a feature, to maybe getting to be a host, to maybe getting to be a headliner.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes in those baby steps a little bit like that. by design. So like, once you eventually, get your features pretty good and you start being host at open mic stuff, that and you being host, that's different muscles to flex,
It is.
different things to learn, to where when you get to be that headliner, you have all those tools.
Yes, and it also reflects too about how much of a how important it is to have a good sense of community within
The ecosystem
all
is
the
very
people.
important.
Because like a lot of those opportunities are just other comics.
Yeah.
It's the networking, it's you building those relationships, and seeing that those different perspectives. Like I keep going back to it. One of the things that I thought was absolutely amazing to see coming from another comic was Trash. Trash was hosting, I think it was a sesh open mic, and instead of doing the normal like he was going to go up and introduce everybody, he's like, hey, we're going to try something new. Everybody who goes up, you are going to introduce the next person.
Yeah, tag team or tag it off.
And that was such a unique thing. I had never done that before, and it put a lot of people in a spot where they'd never been before, but it forced them to work a muscle that they hadn't worked. They had to come up with something on the spot and find a way to transition. So it gave everybody that experience that they wouldn't have gotten unless they had done a host.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah,
so,
it's a great idea.
And again, I love how everybody's trying to help build each other up, and ultimately that's my favorite thing.
But also, what I get at too on that is, say you make it to that feature act or that hosting spot or that headlining spot.
Yeah,
you're gonna have appreciation for the people that are in those spots below because you were there.
Yes.
So like you see a host struggle, you're like, oh, I've been there, man. I know what he's doing, or like you appreciate it now more. When someone like a host brings up somebody who has some really good improv for a person they're bringing up, they didn't have to do that, but they did it. You notice it. You notice the extra mile that they're going.
What's that effort that you didn't have to exert that you chose to?
It's just like I tell people, Cellar, there's Lacey, Rains, and JB. They usually host. Great people. I always go out of my way when I go to the Cellar to make a joke about each one of them. Somewhere in my set, I'm going to give it up for JB. He looks like this. We gave it up for Lacey. She looks like this. They appreciate that because, they're going through 20 people and they're like, yeah, up next. And then they're trying to focus on this. Occasionally, if they hear their name and then they hear it, they're like, oh, that's a good joke. That sticks out. That matters. You're putting effort. You're appreciating them. That's where I try to look at it. It's like, yes, I'm roasting you a little bit, but I roast the people I appreciate and people I think are worth it.
I agree.
It's a way for a comic, in my opinion, to show the appreciation and stuff like that. I'm going to fuck with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to fuck with you because I think you can handle it.
And there's definitely an art to that too. I mean, there's a fine line between playful banter and just being a dickhead.
Yes. Tone. There's another part of the comedy. I know we're getting close on this, but like, there's some people that are like, I'm going to host this open mic and I don't want any roasting. Okay, well, you just cut off like half my act, a little bit of crowd work, because like, I don't ever want to have by those rules. I'm one of those people, like, if you give me a stupid rule that I can poke holes through, I'm going to fuck with it hard. I just can't help myself. If you give me a stupid rule and I'm like, that's bullshit, I want to make you regret having that rule. And so like, I'll just do that. So I just have that wild hair in me. But like, I think you should never treat your audience like an idiot. I think most audiences can tell inflection and in tone. Mm-hmm. They can tell when you're actually digging on somebody versus just doing a good joke.
Yeah.
They can tell by tone if you're being menacing. And I think you should give the audience the benefit of the doubt to make that up. And then honestly, if you bomb or something like that, you should also have the ability to recover, do an improv joke, do something like that. Like, you're the fucking man with the mic. You're the one with the power.
Yeah.
See if they can do it. But also there's places like Looney Bin that have like the rules for like, no bodily fluids, no F word on their open mic.
Yeah.
Some people are like, oh, fuck rules on open mics. I actually like it. I think the restrictions sometimes are great because it causes you to be a little bit more creative.
It does.
It's a different crowd too. It's a different atmosphere.
And you never know what you're going into. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but maybe they have that rule because they've had enough people.
Well, the way the Looney Bin sets up is they're like a double A club, but they have their open mic before their paid show.
Yeah.
So they're handing a mic to a complete stranger for 4 minutes before paid customers are there to see the main line. That's a lot of risk. So that's why they have those rules, because they don't know you yet. And if you're good, if you're a headliner, or like Shauna Blake's been there and stuff like that, they say fuck on stage. They can say whatever they fuck on there because they're trusted.
Yeah.
That's kind of how Looney Bin develops it. It's like, hey, we don't know you yet on this 4-minute open mic. It's just free for all. Here's some little bit of restraint. Let's see if you can fit in these, if we can work with you. Mm-hmm. And let's see if you're tolerable a little bit. And then maybe we can build that relationship. And I kind of appreciate that. Mason's doing great things at Looney Bin.
Yeah.
Since he took it over last summer. The paint jobs, the way they've redone everything, like Looney Bin's picking up pretty good in there.
I hadn't been to it before starting doing the comedy, so I can say the few times that I've been there since
I was banned.
September, it does look pretty nice in there. So
yeah, like so like a long time ago, I tell people my story. Like we talked. Well, in with this, we talked about like building something up to have a base.
Yes,
that's why I did this, because 15 years ago I tried comedy, and back then it was only Looney Bin. That was the only place from here to basically Kansas City or fucking Oklahoma City was Looney Bin in Tulsa. I did 2 sets, and I was the kid that was like collecting the Looney Bin cups. And like, I was like, oh, I got a souvenir for each one I go and stuff like that. I was so happy. I was like 20, 21. And then the second time they said I was banned because I told a joke and they said it was too offensive. I found out like years later, it was just the open mic host. It wasn't Looney Bin. They didn't even know who I was. It was some petty bullshit. I found out basically the thing was, he was doing basically a revolving door. The more new people he brought, the more times he could host and get more mic time. So he was phasing people out after a couple weeks.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that just basically when I found out I was banned from there, I just gave up because like I was like, there's no place for me to do comedy, so I just stopped for 15 years. And then, yeah, so when I came back to do podcasting and stuff, I was like, I'm gonna build this to where nobody can take anything away from me. I have a base, nobody can like at least I can fall back on this.
Yeah,
and that's just where I kind of grew from here. And yeah, no, don't look back.
Definitely makes
Fuck
having
Billy
all
Bizarre.
Definitely makes having all these different open mics really makes you really appreciate them.
Well, yeah, too, because like I come back now and like there's so many mics. And
you got
like,
an open mic every day of the week.
Yeah, and like their quality, they're getting good hosts, they're getting good flyers. You can hire me now. But like we're getting a good ecosystem built here. I honestly think in the next 5 years this could be like a little Austin.
I believe it.
I think that's why I'm really trying to push for this podcast to be like, it's not just a Tulsa-based podcast, it's a comedy podcast, it's an entertainment podcast. If you're coming through Tulsa as a band, a musician, musician, same thing, fucking thing. But if you're coming through as a band, an entertainer, a comedian, stop by.
Yeah.
Have a chat on the couch. There was a long time where I didn't even say it was from Bartlesville for a long time because I was scared people wouldn't come out this way because I had some people scheduled on the day that they found out it was in Bartlesville. They're like, fuck this, I'm not driving that far. I had that actually happen, like my first season. So I started hiding it. I would always say I was from Tulsa. And then once Josh Wolf drove all the way out here with his son, and I filmed an episode for him, and then I even labeled it as Bartlesville, Oklahoma, the name of their podcast, that episode, because they were so impressed with my studio. Like the first 30 minutes of their podcast episode is just talking about my studio, how cool it is.
It is pretty cool.
And it's just fake. It's just advertising for Unloading Meat, the brand. He was like, "What's your name?" Unloading Meat. That's a great brand name for a podcast. And like they're just awesomely talking about my studio and everything. And that was 3 months into me launching this, just because Zach Amon gave me a good word.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, once he drove all the way out here and did all of that, I was like, well, people can drive. Yeah. Because also, like, I go back to appreciation. I'm very grateful for you driving this way from Tulsa here, coming out here. I appreciate that. But I also, like, I want people to also see, like, not that I have an ego about it, but, like, I'm doing this drive 2 to 3 days a week.
Yeah.
To do these open mics or do the shows. Like, Broken Arrow's an hour and a half from here. And I'm doing that weekly. Just because that's how you have to do it to get made. It's you got to do these reps.
It's that time you're putting in.
Yeah, man.
It's just the same amount of time as you're putting into your sets as you're putting into those drives and getting to your locations and getting everything ready.
You listen to a lot of Spotify.
Lots of Spotify, lots of podcasts. Yeah.
Hey, fellow hipsters and people that have culture or something. I'm Jared Ralphie Allen, host of Unloading Meat, and we need sponsors for this show. If you identify with this fucked up hat I'm wearing, these shitty tattoos, or any other cultural references that are behind me, reach out to your favorite sponsors and tell them to sponsor the show Unloading Meat. Now, back to acting like I wasn't impressed by anything. I wish this podcast could be on vinyl. Well, man, I just gotta say this has been a fantastic episode. It's been great talking to you.
I've had so much fun. This was great. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem, man. Thank you for the baby Groot head. Yeah. Where can everybody find the great Kory McCorkle if they want to book you or see you on social media?
I'm currently working on my social media stuff. I got a Facebook page I'm trying to build right now. I got an Instagram I'm trying to get some video clips set up on. So hopefully I'll have that up within the next month or so. I'm going to all the open mics. I go to Hunt Club Wednesdays, 8 o'clock downtown Tulsa. Keel's Lounge, been hitting that about once or twice a month. Thursdays is Go out there in Broken Arrow, one of my favorite places to go. And then I've been doing shows at Go and Riff shows, so I'm just trying to take every opportunity that I can get, and
Yeah, man,
see
that's the way to do it, man.
what friends I can make.
Well, man, it's been a great, fantastic episode. It's been a great chat. Magic
lot of
editing,
fun.
I didn't fuck up that at all.
This is a lot of fun. I'm glad I came out here.
Yeah, man.
Definitely worth the drive.
Well, guys, this has been Kory McCorkle. I'm Jared Ralphie Allen. This has been Unloading Meat. Peace.
Unloading the meat.